Welcome back to the show. Patrick Kadalie here. We're talking about Sober and Sexy, the calendar that you will see shortly. We're also talking about Patrick's role. I know that he's a man that likes innovation, and I think that's all about innovation. Patrick, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Faizal.
Now,
Thanks for having me.
your role specifically, because I know you for a while now, you like getting involved with things that are that you can innovate and has been innovating.
Yeah.
You also get involved with very successful things. So I know that when you talk about something, it's going to work, or it has been working.
Yeah.
Where did all of that start?
Well, look, I mean, as you know, as Fiona said, my sister came to me and said to me, look, I was in church this morning. I heard this lady speak about her journey in which she's ended up with the calendar. And I said, I love it. I love the whole concept of focusing on the positive side of recovery. Fiona came to see me, and we spoke. And we were in the boardroom, and we spoke, and she told me about her experience, and we looked at the calendar that she produced in 2016. And I said to her, look, you're onto something far bigger than what you probably think you are. Okay. And the idea that Fiona had at that stage was to create an NPO, a non-profit organization, because the proceeds of the calendar was going to the Cape Town Drug Counselling Centre. And I said to her, look, let's talk about that before you embark on anything. I have a different concept. And of course, my concept is the notion of a social enterprise. And if we understand what social enterprises do, they largely serve the purpose of solving social problems. Okay. The difference is they have an economic engine that helps them sustain that purpose, okay, by lessening their dependence on people that fund them. So we started exploring this conversation, and of course I could see that Fiona's eyes lit up and she said, is that possible? Can we do that? And I said, yes, we can. That conversation, fast forward a month later, we've just launched the Sober and Sexy social enterprise. In Mpumelelo, a social innovation agency, which is my organization, we've taken a 15% stake in that organization. And of course, our commitment to Fiona is we're going to help you walk this journey. So it's a risk-based model.
It's interesting because I think that for anything to be successful, there needs to be a host of expertise in a particular project, all sitting in the same pot, doing different things. And I always tell, and my partner always says, that you'd rather have 10% of a smaller pie than have 100% of nothing. And I think it's one of those where you've got certain expertise, she has certain expertise, she's got the story and the journey, and you need to take that story and journey, take it through, put the business to it, attach the business model, and make that sustainable.
I think, look, when we started having this conversation, I said to Fiona, you know, you're the brand of this organization. And of course, it is about her purpose. And I think what we connected on was the notion that impact will always be first, profit second. You know, and I said to her, you're going to have to hold me true to that because, you know, I'm the businessman. I come in with the notion of commerce and profits, but you're about the purpose. And I think we had this unsigned agreement that that's the way we're going to build this business, you know, that we're there to partner with her and strengthen her, but it's about the mission. It's about taking the mission forward and ensuring that we can impact a community that largely needs that kind of support.
Correct. So we know we have a prevailing problem, and that's, I think it's a global phenomenon that people are addicted to drugs and all kinds of drugs around the world.
Yeah.
But what I like what Fiona said was that the focus changed, and the focus is no longer focusing on the problem and the past, because as we sit today, it is a current problem, but people are focusing on the problem. But nobody really highlights the path of the recovering addict.
Absolutely.
And if we can tell that story with a bit of sunshine to it, addicts might say, well, you know what, that's where I maybe want to be next.
Yes.
And this is where they need to be next.
Absolutely.
So I think you guys play a very serious and core role in trying to shift the mental paradigm when it comes to understanding how people think and feel about their own addiction.
Well, that's part of it. That's a huge part of it. I also think that if you look at what she's produced in the calendar is a manifestation of something far deeper, you know. And the fact that it comes out in this form as a calendar, which is a metaphor for stripping away the shame, you know, being comfortable with yourself, that is powerful. For me, and I looked at this message and I thought, how do you take a message as simple as that and globalize it? Not even localize it, globalize it. Because what she created was a brand that you can take anywhere in the world. You know, it's not, you know, addiction isn't a South African problem. It's a global problem. So when we started exploring this and the enormous impact this message could have, the commercial engine, the social enterprise could be the vehicle that carries this message, that creates the infrastructure and architecture to deliver that message to a very wide audience. And at the same time, generate profit that allows it to reinvest back into its social purpose, and expand on that purpose. And I think the challenge is with most organizations that do goodwill is they struggle to scale the impact. Business is easy. We invest in our sales teams, our marketing, etc., and we can scale our products and services. They don't have the luxury of that. Why? Because they depend on other people to give them money.
Correct.
Got to break that mold, So this was the opportunity.
So you guys create the product and it's out there, but we obviously need the support of the public to conclude that model.
Absolutely.
How do people get involved? Their support is the purchase of the calendar itself.
Yes.
Their support is perhaps the attendance of your event coming up on Thursday evening in Cape Town. Tell us a bit about that.
It's the exciting part of it. I mean, I met Fiona probably 2-3 months, a month after, 2 months ago. And she was quite advanced in the launch of a 2017 calendar. Of course, I wanted to hijack this process to not only launch the calendar for 2017, but also to showcase the social enterprise. So the one thing we want to do is we want to showcase the calendar, the work that she's done, because at the same time, we mustn't forget that Fiona is a very skilled photographer. She's an artist. So her artistry comes through the product. So the idea was expose us to a wider audience, and that is, people of all walks of life and business. So we invited a large group of people to come, and people are welcome to come and attend the launch. And we want to do a few things at the launch. One, we want to tell the story. Two, we want to show the manifestation of that story in this beautiful calendar that Fiona's created. And then we want to expose them to some of the other ideas that we have. As an example, I'm wearing one of the dog tags, but I'm not going to say more. I want people to come there and experience the event itself. But the launch is a stepping stone into something far bigger, and we want people to become part of that journey. We don't want to do it in isolation. I think our shareholder community goes beyond the recovery community. It is people that have a vested interest in the well-being of our society.
Correct. Yes. I want to take you one step back, and maybe in conclusion. So we look at this aspect of, let's say, no to drugs, and that's something that we hear all the time, and it's the tagline for many organizations and that sort of thing. Yes, we are saying no to drugs, and we understand that we have to say no to drugs. But for some reason, the problem manifests, and it continues. I do not think, and I don't want to be quoted for this, but I'm assuming that the figures of drug addicts are not on the decline. I have a feeling that they're on the incline. Well, somebody can send us a stat if they want to. But the point is that the drug problem is going to be there. But you are now channeling the energy into the aspect of what next. Because there is a problem with what next, because the what next component tends to sometimes slip back into the problem. And if we can take that particular area and say that there's a different sunlight on this side, they might remain there. So there's more than what meets the eye on this entire operation.
Absolutely. And look, Faizal, what's important is Fiona's committed, as an example, to take the proceeds of the calendar and give it back to the Cape Town Drug Counselling Centre. Now, the fact is, we have these organizations that are helping and trying to address the scourge of addiction. We expect government, through its social departments, through its social development strategies, to address these problems. They can't do it alone. They need, we talk about this notion of triple P, public-private partnerships. We need organizations like these social enterprises and corporate South Africa to become partners with government to address this. We can't sit on the side. The notion of active citizenry is that we play a part in solving the problems. And if we can create social enterprises that allows us to do just that, conscript people into this organization that can become part of the solution, rather than sit on the side and say, there's a problem, what do we do about it? We now create the opportunities for people to get involved. to be actively involved. And we do it not as an isolated organization. We do it as part of a larger ecosystem that addresses that problem. Because yes, it's not getting better, you know. But having said that, I'm empowered to change it. And I think having partnered with Fiona in this instance, you know, we've done exactly that.
Patrick, in conclusion, your message to the public watching the show, for them to get involved. What's your call for them to get involved?
Well, look, I think that certainly the kind of architecture we've designed within Sober and Sexy is that it's an open architecture. You know, we want to build this business where we engage communities. And I can't talk to some of the ideas that we do have, but what we are saying is this is not an organization that's going to be pushing out ideas. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting with the people out there, and we're going to pull them in, and we're going to shape ideas together. That's all I can tell you. But what we have created and the kind of concepts that we've thought about is really just exciting. You know, one of them, as an example, is we talk about recovery to employment. You know, how do we take people from this destitute situation where we empower them, but not just empower them as in how do we get through rehabilitation? How do we become part of the economic activities and sustain ourselves moving forward? So we've done some interesting things, but I'm not going to say too much. Come to our launch and listen to what we've got to say.
Of course, I think that attending the launch and purchasing the calendar is your way of assisting in that change. And all of us, and I cannot think of anybody that I know or any citizen in South Africa sitting by and saying that I don't want drugs to be a problem in this country. And it is a problem. We talk about it, we moan about it, we groan about it, but here's your opportunity as the public to say, let me contribute something that might make that change.
Absolutely.
Patrick, thank you for coming into the show.
Thanks.
Patrick Kadalie, and he's talking about his involvement with Sober and Sexy. Now we know that event comes up on Thursday night. Do catch the details at the bottom of the screen. Until next time, goodbye.